All right, welcome to Night Freaks number 17. My name is Grady George. If you haven't been watching us, welcome. I think it was maybe Friday. I heard about this in the Elisa Discord. They were trying to keep it under wraps. I was going live with Night Freaks that night. My intention was not to have a 3-part series of this shit. I just was trying to find out what was going on. Over the last 2 days, I became very disturbed by what I was seeing coming out on this. A lot of people were telling us that we were liars and all this shit. We are vindicated today. Okay? The dude is in jail, in custody right now for CP. And I think that's just going to be the very beginning. For those of you in the audience tonight, I want you to know that what we're going to be talking about tonight is going to be very hard for some of you to deal with. It is some of the most disgusting and foul stuff I have ever read. And it's very frightening what was going on around Elisa this entire time. Jimmy was a satanic magic practitioner. He was, the whole time he was, with Elisa, he was also like committing like weird satanic rituals involving killing animals in churches, fucking them. It's very scary when you think about Elisa's dog that she loves. I bet it sat on Jimmy's lap. Okay. Jimmy's roommate's cat, Jimmy put a screwdriver through its eyeball, jacked off on it, and peed in its eyeballs. And that was his roommate's fucking cat, man. So if you don't think Jimmy hasn't been doing shit the entire time to those around him, you are a dumb motherfucker. So tonight we start the hill. We're going to go over the satanic elements of Jimmy Jordana. And it is some scary ass shit. I want to warn you, if you don't like hearing about animal torture, if you don't like hearing about, I can't even, we're going to get into it, okay? I am so fucking disturbed right now. I've been disturbed. I've gotten very little sleep. I've been getting a lot of hate, love, and all kinds of shit over this project I've been doing over the last 2 days. It's kept me up at night. And I feel spiritually drained. And what we're going to talk about tonight is something that, it's not funny, okay? If you guys think this is funny, go ahead and leave. We will not be laughing tonight. And if you think it's funny, I guarantee you by the end of the night, you will not have a smile on your face. And I also want to say that I am not attacking Elisa. I feel like Elisa is a victim here. I mean, I hope Elisa, I don't know where you're at. I don't know if you are alone down there in Miami. But I would urge you to get psychological help immediately. We do not hate you. I, Grady George, do not blame you. But I don't know if that's the same for, I don't speak for everybody on this panel. I want to bring up first, I'm sorry, Deena, I'm going to remove you for a second. I just want to talk to Laurenthechristian. Are you there, Lauren?
Grady. Hi, Grady.
Hi,
Good
Grady.
to see you.
Lauren, do you mind coming on camera, would it be possible?
I just took off all my makeup, so I think I'm just gonna do off cam tonight.
Okay, well, I think before we get into the disgusting ass shit we're going to be talking about tonight, I was wondering if you could lead us off with a prayer,
A
since you're a
prayer?
Christian.
Sure, I'd be happy
Yeah, I
to.
wanna I wanna get some of this nasty shit out of this room right off the bat before we start bringing it back in. And I'm gonna put you up solo. When you're done, we will start the discussion.
Sure, thanks, Grady. Okay, dear Heavenly Father, we come into your presence at this moment. You see the spiritual warfare that is happening here, and we call on you, Lord of Lord, King of Kings, to please come into the presence of this room. I ask your gracious direction, Father, over Grady, over myself, over Deena, over Jadis, over anyone else that comes in panel. Please direct our words and thoughts in a way that we can talk about this horrible satanic things that are happening, not necessarily to condemn Elisa and Jimmy, but to really rather expose what they have, not what they, but what Jimmy has done. And Father, we pray your hand of grace over Elisa, that she may find help and solace and begin making a change on her podcast for more positivity. We pray, Father, any negative energy, any negativity, any satanic energy that's hanging in the air and attacking anybody, filling them with anxiety or depression or despair. Father, I ask your hand of graciousness over them. Please remove that from them and from the room tonight. And please bless and protect everyone, the audience included, going forward. In your heavenly name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Grady,
Hi,
I can't
Conor.
help but smile. I'm not smiling because I'm some sicko. I'm just smiling because I can't help it. I'm
No worries.
nervous.
Yeah. Well, okay. Let's start talking tonight. What is the latest?
I think Jadis should tell us the latest. I think
Yeah.
he's up on the news the most.
Jadis, are you there? Oh, hold on. You might be muted.
Okay, I'll tell the latest while we're waiting.
Hello.
Okay. Oh, there you
Oh,
go.
there we go.
Oh, sorry about that. I saw myself backstage, and you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So the latest. So you want to know the latest? So I tried to stay up all night because because I knew today the arrest affidavits and records were coming out sometime today. Wasn't sure what time, so I stayed up all night and through a source. Where's that noise coming from? I'm sorry.
It's Deena. Deena, I will bring you back up when we're ready to talk to you.
So yeah, I was waiting for the arrest and affidavit to the arrest report and affidavit to come up, and before then, from a source of mine, I was able to get the which we didn't think we were going to be able to get. I got the mugshot and the booking whatever, the booking sheet, and we weren't sure we were going to get the mugshot because Martin County, Florida, it's not South Florida, it's not Miami, it's a lot less people, a smaller town, so they don't post their mugshots. We were told that someone would have had to go there in person, but through a source, we were able to get both the booking sheet and the mugshot. And then shortly after that, I was able to obtain the arrest affidavit and report. And
Okay.
and those were all released. Those were all released earlier. Earlier this afternoon.
And it pretty much confirms what you said 2 days ago, right? He basically walked into a what is it, like a one county north of where Elisa is, with a box of CP, I think, and turned himself into police.
So would you like me to read the report? Or
Yes, please go ahead.
okay, let me pull it up. One moment. And okay, here we go. And there's some interesting things about it. There's some typos and whatnot. So okay, so first off, James Leonard Ward. He lied about his age. Here it says he was. I'm not gonna. I'll just say the year he was born, 1962. He was saying he was 63 on the show. He's actually 61. This is definitely a typo or something. It states his race as black, and then it states his height as 2 feet and 2 inches, and that he weighs 210. Is it? The height is 2 feet and 10 inches, and his weight is 210 pounds. That goes along. That's a weird thing because it's completely off. But it goes into he's into this thing with numerology and repeating numbers and stuff. So that's a
Right.
weird thing. His height is 210 and his weight is 210.
Let's get to the meat and potatoes, though, Jadis.
Yes. Okay. So the charge. Well, I'm going from top to bottom. Okay. So the charge they have him is possess, view, depict child conduct. And okay, so we're gonna go down to the this is the report part. On 8/26/2023 at 1:26 p.m. I responded to 4001 Southeast Federal Highway, Walmart, about a report of a man, because he doesn't have a car. He for some reason just showed up at this Walmart, but it makes sense why. About a report of a male who wanted to turn himself into the police and confess to crimes he had committed. The male stated that he was at the customer service desk at Walmart. They have Officer Lopez, Gamble, Rice, and I. So four officers responded, arrived at Walmart, and made contact with a tall, older, white male wearing a blue shirt and khaki shorts. The male, later identified as James Ward, stated that he had committed a crime inside the Walmart on 8/29/2018. I'm sorry, 2015, which is tomorrow. Tomorrow would be August 29th. But basically, August 29th, 2015. Ward stated that while he was inside Walmart on 8/29/2015, he pulled his penis out of his pants and the M word
Yeah.
M word in front of several children. Based on the senility of the conversation, so the officers were thinking he's a crazy, a senile old man. Ward was asked. So based on the senility of the conversation, Ward was asked if he could come with us outside where we could talk in a more discreet setting. Once we were out of the store, I asked Officer Lopez to stand with Ward while I returned to my patrol vehicle to obtain any information about the alleged crimes that Ward was trying to confess. I called Stewart Police Dispatch to conduct a search of all calls from August 29, 2015 to see if any matched the details above. Stewart Police Dispatch stated they were able to locate a case 15-11347 that matched what Ward was describing. A copy of the case and supplement were emailed to my Stewart Police Department email for my review. I then asked Ward if he would come to the Stewart Police Department for further questioning. Ward responded with something like, "I was kind of expecting that." I then asked Ward again and reminded him that this would have been under his own free will, and offered him a ride to the station. Ward agreed to be transported to the Stewart Police Department. In ordinance with Stewart Police Department policy, I conducted a pat-down for weapons of Ward before placing him in the back of my patrol car. I could skip some of this. When Officer Lopez and I arrived,
Exactly.
when Officer Lopez and I arrived at the Stewart,
I think that's enough, though, right, Grady? Because a lot of this is just kind of like specific.
No. We're getting to the meat of.
Okay.
Get to the meat.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I began. Okay, so I explained to Ward that he was free to leave anytime. I also confirmed that he was at the police department independently. Okay, skip ahead. I then began reviewing the pintail report that was taken on August 29th, 2015, so that I'll be familiar with what Ward was telling me while I reviewed the report. Ward, without being questioned or provoked, stated, "I don't know if this matters, but part of my confession says that on my laptop is a bunch of CP on the laptop in the laptops that are in your car." Ward said he had sent an email to Sergeant Reddick, TC Palm, and several other news outlets. This was later confirmed by Detective Sergeant Duran. Ward wrote a 24-page confession detailing various crimes dating back to 1979. I then asked Ward if Officer Lopez could retrieve the backpacks. They went to go get the backpacks. Skipping ahead, Ward provided me with the password to the Toshiba laptop. Ward directed me to a file icon and then to a file labeled "Oh my God," or I'm sorry, OMG. Within the file, there were several videos, GIFs, and still images showing various sexual pictures. I was able to identify at least two of the images. In the image, a child between the age of 1 to 2 with a male penis touching its tongue. In the second image, the child is on the floor and appears to be crying with a male holding his penis. There were several other images that I saw, but it was not over clear. I'm going to read this how it is because there are typos. But it was not over clear the age of the person depicted. I then closed the laptop before reviewing the file any further, an eventual application for search warrant. Ward then gave me the password for the white Chromebook, but we were unable to access the laptop. Ward stated that he also has a storage locker in Topeka, Washington, which is a typo, that contains hard drives full of more CP. Ward indicated that the key to the unit was in his bag and that there was flash drives attached to the key containing more CP. After reviewing the above listed evidence, I told Ward that he was no longer free to leave, and I read him his Miranda warnings and secured him in patrol interview room with shackles around his ankles. During the post-Miranda interview, Ward stated that he downloads CP from various dark websites. Based on the facts stated above, I believe that probable cause exists to arrest Ward for violation of Florida State Statute 827.0715A. Ward knowingly possessed at least 2 images of children engaged in sexual acts. Your affidavit requests that Ward be held without bond until his first appearance There will be further investigation into the lewd and lascivious confession, and Ward also confessed in 24-page typed confession where he states he molested several different children throughout the United States. That's the end of the report.
So there's an admission to him, and it might even be these kids in the photos. It might be him in the photos, right? It just says a man. Okay,
Yeah,
so
well,
let me bring up Deena here. She's a friend, or she's a former friend of Jimmy's. Deena, how are you?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm not very well right now, but I'll get through it.
Okay, how do you know Jimmy?
Before I talk about that, Lauren started out with a prayer, and I want to say a one-word Hebrew prayer, and this is for Jimmy's victims, the babies and the animals, and every innocent victim of his. Okay, so I want to say, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. That's all.
Thank you, Deena. So I guess you knew him from his Stern Show days?
Yes.
How did you meet him?
He used to call in as Claire from New Jersey, and at the time there was Chad. It wasn't Elisa, something else, and they started talking to him in there, and then I liked his name Claire. I'm not going to say why, but it was relevant to someone.
I'm going to blame Crystal Roberts.
What's that?
Was it Crystal Roberts' Stern Room? I think we're just going to blame Crystal Roberts.
I remember that name. I have no problem
So
with her.
yeah, but go ahead.
But anyway, long story short, we knew each other over many years. He has family here where I live in Maryland. I had him in my house. I had lunch with him about 5 weeks ago. I picked him up in my car, and that creep was in my car, and we went out to lunch, which we would do when he was
So
here.
this guy, Deena, let me stop you. This guy would call into Stern. From my understanding, Stern himself kicked him off after 8 times because he was so disturbing. Now, you heard him on the radio, and you went to have lunch with him? Is that what happened? And by the way, okay, go ahead.
We were already friends at the time. We would talk about, planning his calls to Howard so he could get on. And, he would say, they won't take my phone calls anymore. And at the time, I thought he was just being paranoid, to be honest with you. I'm not sure there is proof that they stopped taking his calls. I don't know, unless someone from the staff can confirm that. But I would always be like, well, Howard's just busy. You can't get on every time. I mean, that's what I thought at the time. I thought he was being paranoid. But he had, in hindsight, there's a lot of things we talked about. A few things we talked about. I first want to say I knew nothing about this till Saturday. Okay. I would never cover this up. I would have reported him to the police right away. We had conversations in hindsight that I am still trying to dissect in my mind, especially about the time he spent with his friend when he did those disgusting things to the animals. I was talking to him a lot during that time, and he told me how much he hated the animals and how when she went away, it was his chore to take care of them. And there were conversations about that. And he never said, obviously, what he did to them. But it's weird to look back at it and know what was really going on while we were talking.
Did he ever confess stuff to you? Like he would go, okay.
Did he ever
well,
talk
I mean, for instance, he would confess on the Kermit and Friends show a lot. For one of the things was the poop cupcakes, and he would say, "Oh, I'm a Christian now, but I used to do this," and he would tell you what he's doing while he's actually doing it at that time.
Yeah, never ever did he talk about poop. In fact, I missed the times, wasn't present on the times recently on Elisa's show that he ever talked about poop. I didn't even know about that till Saturday. And apparently it's been, people have known about it, that I never knew any of that. Elisa's a whole nother story, and she's a weirdo herself, but just like me, she has no knowledge of anything he ever did. She's got definitely
What's
has
your
issues.
history with Elisa, Deena?
Yeah, she's a backstabbing bitch, but the story with Jimmy and her and me is that I never went on her crappy show until Jimmy started bad-mouthing me on there. I wanted no part of it. I think her show's stupid. And, some people goof on her and she doesn't even realize it. They goof on her because she gets kicked out of every place she goes into with her annoying camera. And, and people goofed on Jimmy. They goof on him more than her. But anyway.
So you said you wanted to clear your name. So have people been contacting you like, you were friends with this guy, how did you not do anything like that?
Only in her disgusting Discord chat.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of that. There's a lot of good people in there, but there's a lot of bad people in there.
Yeah.
And they're idiots. That they can screw off. But and then
yeah. Well, if it's true what you say, you didn't even know about the poop fetish.
Honestly, and apparently other people, including Elisa, knew he ate poop sandwiches or something. I never knew that. I didn't tune into her show at those exact moments that was spoken about.
Well, he always talked about himself as though he was a reformed Christian.
Well, I was close friends, not close.
Did all this stuff under the influence of drugs, basically.
Well, with the year he went in rehab, he was allowed to go to a library every other week. And he emailed, I was in this special list of people, I forget what he called it, that would get an email from him every 2 weeks for the year he was in this Christian rehab program. And, he just acted like he had found God. Because I'm going to tell you something, before that, he was not into religion at all. But then in hindsight, hearing all these stories about the churches and stuff, I mean, I
remember hearing in Elisa's show, too, that he was raised very religious, I think.
He was never very religious. The year he was in rehab, he did start saying, and it was all bullshit now in hindsight, but that he found Jesus. And, when the few times he was able to call me in rehab, he said, "Don't laugh at me, Deena, because I was never into Jesus and da-da-da." And I said, "No, I think it's great that you found something to help you through your addiction. I think that's great." And, I never.
Well, how'd you end up on Elisa's Discord Saturday?
I went on, when me and Jimmy started fighting a few weeks ago publicly on her show because we were friends, and then he blew up on me when I tried to tell him not to be on Elisa's show because she was using him like she uses everyone, and he was paying for a lot of stuff. So before I knew he was a psycho piece of shit, I was defending him, and he actually got mad at me for defending him and said publicly on her show, brought up my name, which I told him never to talk about me. And he and that's when I started calling in the first time ever on Elisa's show, so I could tell him he was a piece of shit. Like I said before, I knew any of this, and there was some drama, and I called in the night before he turned himself in. If you listen to the last 15 minutes of her last show, it's me the night before he turned himself in calling her about him being a psycho. He wasn't on the show. He had quit a few days before as part of his master plan or whatever the shit was. But, I told the night before I was calling him a psycho. I had no idea what I was really saying. I knew, and then I went on her Discord because I had a fake name called Jimmy the Idiot. And it was my kind of secret way of just making fun of him and getting him all riled up because I wanted to goof on him and get even with him. And it worked. He'd go crazy. He'd go crazy on Elisa's stream over me. He'd go crazy in Discord. And if, in hindsight, I never would have poked the bear. I didn't know what as I didn't know he was like a true piece of shit, and I hope he rots in prison, and I hope I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but you know what I hope happens to him.
Yeah.
Deena, let me
He's
ask
pure
you.
evil. He's pure evil.
Yeah, let me ask you. Where did you have any mysterious things happen around you? Have you seen the manifesto looking for dates where he may have been around you and killed your animals, or was he ever around your children alone, or any little kids, or
He was
anything like that?
around a cat at the time I had and my children. Never, ever, ever alone. Never. Never. I wouldn't let any man that's not like family or close alone with my
No, but
children.
I mean, you never had like a cat disappear or anything like
No.
that when he was around, right?
I had a cat that ran away, but it wasn't when he was around. So no, it had
Okay.
nothing to do with him. No, it's creepy as hell now that I know he was in my house.
Well, it seemed like he did stuff to people he knew, because he could have
his
stole that
victims
cat
were-
and did this. He got
Yeah.
power out of it satanically. We're going to go into that.
He got a sick thrill, but his victims were all animals and babies that couldn't talk. So he was never alone in my house where he could have abused anyone. And I can talk. That's why even being alone in a car with him a month ago, or having him over, or going to his brother's house, I can talk. So he never did anything to me. I guess he knows I can talk. He chose the vulnerable, to prey on. He was very sick.
So you say
Person.
Elisa backstabbed you. How did she backstab
Oh,
you?
she's such a bitch. Well, I kind of made up with her and I liked her for about a few weeks.
Yeah, that's what someone just said. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because of Jimmy bad mouthing me, and I finally called and I said, Jimmy, you're a piece of shit. You know what, Elisa? Take this sucker for every penny he's got, because he was mad at me for defending him and being his friend and saying, don't trust Elisa. She's using you for money, which she did. But
Can
then
we
I
bring
kind
Lauren
of,
back up? I want to ask Lauren some questions.
I'm here. How's it going?
Hey,
Hey,
Lauren.
Lauren.
Hi,
So I
Deena.
just
How's
wanted
it
to
going?
ask, like,
Hi.
what made you want to go back on stream with Elisa recently?
Oh gosh, yeah. So the whole reason I had ever gone around Elisa was loneliness, and I really have been praying to find a good group of girlfriends that aren't spiritually or mentally conflicted. But I was like, this sounds like fun. This is a bad idea, but I like try to believe in forgiveness. But like, you're supposed to have discernment too. And like every time I hung out with Elise previously, it's always ended very badly. So I can't say any other reason for why I went to Fort Myers or why I hung out with her the night before, or even like a week ago on Thursday when I made her freak out when I said Jadis is more successful than her. I can't put it to anything else other than I need to find some friends, and I was looking in the wrong places for friends. But I know a lot of people have other opinions about that too.
Yeah.
Lala, can I ask you something?
Sure.
Okay, so within it's gonna be a compounded thing. Uh, on the day that you guys went to Fort Myers or Cape Coral to see Stuttering John, in his manifesto at the end, it says the coda 8/12/2023. So this was the day that. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait. Yes, this. So that was the day that you guys were going to meet Stuttering John, and he was not in her good graces, so she got you to come. He writes, 5:42 a.m. It's hard to decide where to turn myself in. The FBI office in West Palm Beach or the Stewart PD in Stewart. I've got 2 weeks to figure it out. In the meantime, I'm dropping little hints everywhere. Wow, this is so much fun.
Why did he feel the need?
I'm sorry, let me finish. And then
Yeah.
he attaches a Twitter. It says, "quote unquote," everything that has transpired has done so according to my design. And then below it says, "So why am I not jumping off a bridge right now? Because I met someone from Stewart where my parents lived for 25 years. She's really great. We've heard that before. But that was the day that you went to meet with Stuttering John, Lala. So that's kind of weird. But I have a question. Did Elisa say anything about Jimmy to you on that day?
Yeah, that is interesting. I didn't recognize that. And, I could tell you kind of like Elisa's spirit and attitude that whole weekend. The whole weekend that I was with Elisa, it was a very positive experience. She was kind, she was sweet, she was supportive. We had fun. But she said as soon as she got back to Palm Beach for the next 2 days, she was so exhausted she could barely get out of bed. So, Jimmy says something about 5:42 a.m., it's all going according to plan. And then he does like, supposedly witchcraft or something. I don't know if he had done some like, weird magic trick that made Elisa exhausted. But, I wasn't exhausted from the weekend. And it's easy for me to like, put condemnation on her because she's done a lot of mean things to me. But like at the end of the day, um, I know she doesn't have any involvement with this Jimmy thing, and it does make her look really, really bad. But I think that she's a victim in a way too. But I just know that weekend was positive, and then afterwards it was horrible for her, and she was mean to me again.
For the viewers, there was a lot of positive feedback. People were very excited. There was a lot of TTS and donations going off. Even though you guys didn't meet Stuttering John, it was like wow, Lala's back. Like everybody was really excited about that. It's like, and you guys did like, have like good, a good chemistry, for that moment. Like you guys do have good chemistry together.
So
when she's in the right mindset.
Yeah.
I want to ask Deena, did he seem like he was like very depressed lately or like paranoid? Because like, why would he choose to turn himself in this like now? Did he feel like they were on to him? Did he feel like he was so depressed he was either going to kill himself or turn himself in?
He's been thinking about it back to the 12th a few weeks ago, at least that.
He was not depressed at all. In fact, one of the things that he kept screaming, and Elisa would keep screaming, is he would say directly to me and to the audience, "I am having the time of my life." He repeatedly would scream at the screen, his audience, and say, "I am having the time of my life. Fuck you, Deena." Because I guess he thought he was getting even with me by saying that and spending all the money he was on Elisa.
And this part of his manifesto, which is
it was part of the breakdown.
Which is from the day that Lala went to the West Coast with Elisa. He says, "Wow, this is so much fun." Like he was actually having fun. There was some type of thing, like he was getting off on, like he says, "I'm dropping little hints everywhere. Wow, this is so much fun."
I saw that. It was so sick. He was so sick. I just can't even say anything. He was so sick and diabolical.
Right.
Lala, was he writing you? Because he kind of mentioned that on the stream, like he knew you.
Yeah, he doesn't know me at all, and he hasn't written me anything. He hasn't reached out to me. The only way that he's communicated to or with me has been like his Twitter feed. So like back in like June, he said, "Oh, Lauren, you think you're gonna sue Elisa for a parody song? You're such garbage for that." And then more recently, like last Thursday, after I streamed with Diana and she was served on live stream, he said, "Oh, Lauren is like really pretty or something. We have a 111 connection." And I don't know what that means until I think it was Conor who unveiled, what that demonic meaning is. The 111 associated to me, the last 4 digits of my number, it's 1116. So I don't know what he saw in that and lost his mind. I would have appreciated Elisa not sharing my number with him. But he had a creepy interest in me towards the end that I'm glad that he immediately went to the police after that, because I mean, I've always not liked him. The first time I met him like a week ago on Tuesday at the bar, I kept telling him to back away from me, and he kept saying, I'm a Christian, and I got like bad vibes from it. I'm like, no, I don't think so.
So I think that while Elisa isn't involved in this, I think she's culpable in letting these creeps stay around in her community. Because I was listening
Exactly.
to a
Yeah.
podcast that was 5 years ago that said some family was saying that Jimmy was threatening their baby and saying their baby was going to grow up and be a little devil and that their baby's going to die and their baby should die and all this stuff. And he was talking about Kermit Friends back then. That was like 5 years ago. So it's like, if you got these people that, are so sick. Recently she started banning everybody. She banned me from her Discord, and I didn't do shit. But I've always known her as the chick who lets anybody around, whether it's a
She
freaking
does. She takes
PDF file or a freaking stalker or
Conor.
a mental case. So she's culpable in keeping this guy around.
So
Conor.
Grady, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So to loop it back into what Lala was saying about the numerology, do you have anything about that as far as because I could tell you or have any questions as far as that?
He was obsessed with 111.
Okay, so I'll tell you.
Well,
this
I
was
think
something that was realized earlier, like the storage locker. Like, is this a coincidence or not? The storage locker in Topeka, Kansas, the zip code is 66609. Goes into it.
Do we really think he's choosing his storage
Yeah.
lockers based on like numerology? Isn't that kind of like far fetched?
Well, it's just a coincidence, or I don't, and I don't. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he's ever lived in Topeka. I can't confirm that, but
he's probably one of these freaks who sees patterns and everything, and he's just
did.
No,
Let's go.
I don't know.
And he's like, oh, that's the
I don't know
number
if
of
I don't know
this
if any
devil.
of you have seen some of the things that he used to post about and write about, but he talks about like holographic, like this holographic.
He's always been like that. It's weird. It's part of his weirdness. He's always been a weirdo. He's always been obsessed with numbers. He's a total weirdo.
Right.
And I knew that. I just didn't
the
know.
number obsession is occult, and he's very clearly an occultist. Jadis, you've read the manifesto. Can you go to around the time he's streaming with Elisa recently, the dates?
Yeah, sure. Hold on.
Because I believe around this time he's doing a lot of rituals in churches around the area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so 2000. So yeah, so when he came, I guess it was in July. Yes, it was in July. So July 2023, spent an entire night in the courtyard of St. Mary Episcopal Church in Stewart, watching satanic porn from redacted. I'll just say redacted for stuff I don't want to say. Listening to redacted audio porn from redacted, and having 3 intense orgasms during the night. I stunk like BO and dirty ass. Also, a few days before that incident, I took my stinky ass and dirty balls into Sacred Heart Catholic Church in Lake Worth. Spent the whole service with my left hand gripping my hard dick, even when standing. Got to stare at 2 hot and effable little derogatory term for a Hispanic person, girls, asses, and the whole time. 3 years or 9 years tops. I came while everybody was going up to communion. It was very hot. A few days after that incident, I squirted cum in the St. Mary courtyard again. And for the first time in a long time, I was able to abuse a homeless N-word. This worthless piece of shit was sleeping in one of the hallways off the courtyard. I kept passing him, playing with my boner, which was on full display, asking him, so N-word, "Is there anything I could do for you?" Then I pulled down my shorts, exposing my naked, stinky ass to it. He calls this person it. I stuck my finger up my ass, pulled it out, and said, "Wanna sniff my shit N-word?" It said, "You know they be having cameras here." I said, "I don't care. Just let me suck that filthy N-word cock of yours." It did. The N-word was staring at it, was starting to get agitated. So I backed off. Then I played some of the most satanic porn I could find and directed the sound down the hallway to torture this poor soul even more. Later on that morning, I actually went to the service. In between the service, I was allowed to sit in the church and quote unquote pray, which actually meant having my very first orgasms, 2 of them, inside of St. Mary while watching satanic porn on my phone right there in the pews. My ass hadn't been washed in a week, so it had to be noticeably smelly. Okay, let me point something out about something that has happened on stream. Do you remember when Elisa first got her car and he was all sweaty and he was getting triggered by everybody making fun of his BO, his body odor, and he even says right here, "I stunk like BO," and everybody was making fun of him. He says, "No, I don't smell. That is very weird and telling, like cross reference.
Because I'm sorry, Jadis, but Lucky Till here. We're reading this so people know what the fuck happened. Elisa has been trying to sweep this under the rug. For me, if I'm a crematorian, Jimmy was your spiritual advisor, okay? This guy is into occult magic. He was literally including all of you in the fucking spells and shit, And I know most of you don't believe in that, but that's some creepy ass shit that Elisa, indirectly let go on. And I also want to point out the entire time this guy's jerking off in churches, killing animals, grabbing her ass, and she's giggling.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but she's like literally talking about Jadis like he's a monster.
You're right about that.
And all this fucking shit, and it's fucking bullshit, man.
Can I make a comment?
Go ahead.
So it's not a woman's fault when a man does something to them. I totally believe. But here's the thing. He stuck his finger up her ass. Okay. It happened. She took him back into the show after it happened.
When did
That's
this
what
happen?
she will do for money and to have a co-host and to have a weirdo that she let everyone make fun of and got them all triggered. What kind of woman lets somebody do that to them and then has them back into their life? Because the last thing I ever texted her was, "At least I'm not some bimbo who let some guy with shit on his finger stick it up my ass."
Yeah, that's a really good
Did
point.
that happen on camera?
No.
He led a weekly prayer of viewers and probably jerked off and killed a cat after the show every fucking week, okay? That's what I don't know that for a fact, but you see what this guy was doing. He was including the show into his sick fucking shit, and all of you, okay?
He would do a prayer every once in a while. I'll point something out about that relates to what he did to Elisa. I don't know if you remember if people remember the woman in the walker that they hired as an assistant.
Yeah, Savea.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, that was weird.
Okay, about that, somebody had a clip. I'm not sure where I saw the clip. I mean, I saw it on the show, but he's rubbing his crotch at one point on her butt, like as she's trying to walk in her walk.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's something I've seen.
I must have missed that one.
Yeah, can I say something to add to what Deena said? Like it is really foolish and naive that Elisa, brought him back on the show. Like, I think she has
Exactly. What woman
yeah,
does that?
yeah, exactly. It's like she has a lack of self-worth, or she has a pattern of doing that
Well,
in her
no,
life.
she just would do anything to get money and ratings. She
Yeah,
got
and I think
money
that,
from them.
yeah. I think that
She's
went back to
shallow.
like before,
I
yeah, I think that went back before the Kermit and Friends show. I think she's been doing that her whole career. So like, I just pray for her to like know her self-worth. She dresses modestly. I hope she can show that self-worth all over her life, and like, have a higher standard like she wants to say for the guests on her show. But like, I do believe that he stuck her finger up her butt, and God bless that homeless black man. Bless
I
his
know,
heart. He's
that's so
probably looking,
sad.
yeah, like bless his heart. He's probably looking for a safe place to stay. A church certainly has to be safe, and maybe he wants to go to service the next morning. So I don't know. It's really messed
Well,
up,
you
and,
know
and
what?
God
And
bless
yeah,
Corbin.
to a lot of people, yes, I knew him a lot longer than Elisa, but like I said, he never stuck his shit finger up my ass, because I never would have talked to him again like Elisa did. But he was a character for her. She knew he was crazy. She knew she could get money from him, just like she takes advantage of mentally unstable people on her show, homeless people, weird people. She at one point said, "I'm done with homeless and retarded people. I'm not doing it anymore." And then what does she do a day or two later? Finds a homeless or retarded or mentally unstable person. So the donos keep coming in. And that's what it is all about. No, she had no part of knowing anything about what he really did, as neither did I. No one's accusing her of that. But the things she would the way she takes advantage of people, and letting him back after he sexually assaulted her, is just goes to show how hinged and
Well, I've heard
she
her
really
say on the
is.
show before that she's kind
Agreed.
of into stuff like that. She likes when guys like harass her. She likes to be stalked. She likes bad guys like
Yeah,
Andy
she likes
Dick.
bad. I have
She
no
said
clue.
that,
I
yeah.
can't relate to someone like her. I thank God cannot relate to someone like her. I could never use someone the way she does, abuse people the way she does, for money. I mean, she's banned in almost every restaurant and bar where she lives. That goes to show. She's banned from the common area of the own apartment building she lives in. She's hated by most of the city that she lives in. She wants to move because everywhere she goes, she makes enemies.
I also want to bring it up while I'm thinking about it. Does anyone know if Lindsay, the homeless assistant, the little blonde, has she been located? Does anyone
Oh
know?
yeah.
Who?
Lindsay, her assistant, the
Oh yeah,
blonde.
I heard about that. I don't know anything about that. I did hear that.
So
Jadis is our
yesterday,
detective. I
yesterday,
bet he can find her.
yesterday in the Discord, Elisa posted that she had heard from Lindsay's family, and she had not been heard from since she left
Oh
her
God.
stream with a guy, and she was trying to figure out what that guy's name was. And I think Jimmy was around at this time, And
Um,
and this was the day after she got the manifesto from Jimmy. So I asked Lisa, did you tell her family you got a sick ass 25-page manifesto from another cast member literally the day before, and she just ignored me.
wow, that's really scared. I hope that woman's okay.
Me
She was
too.
homeless, and Jimmy definitely had a hate for homeless people.
Yeah, do
I
you
hope
have
she's
any more
okay.
about the homeless stuff, Jadis? Because there's a
Um,
lot of him like attacking, like really degrading homeless people.
Let, let,
Yeah.
let me
Kind of
let me check.
like Elisa, right? Sometimes.
Let's
And
get
also, she's a dog fucker too. I just,
Oh, it's disgusting.
I
Ugh.
mean,
Yeah.
how many videos of her like sexually enticing dogs exist?
It's
I mean, it's
gross.
endless. And then she's running around with this dog fucker. I mean, I mean, is this a
Yeah,
You gotta you,
coincidence?
you gotta be careful
You know?
spiritually with what you let around yourself. That's really important, because it'll come into you eventually. It'll come all over you. Like maybe she was a wholesome person 20 years ago, but yeah, the stuff she does with her dog is horrible. She's culpable for some of the nasty stuff that exists in her community.
I
okay.
think
So
Jimmy got off on watching her make out with the dog, and she might not have realized that at the time, but he totally got
wow,
off on it because,
wow. I never
we
thought
all
of
know
that.
what he did, but,
Good point.
That's so on point.
yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
Grady asked for the homeless references. Okay, so there's 5 references to homeless people, and he says, in the first one, it is not a complete. Okay, this is something telling. This is not a complete list of my crimes. There's more crimes that aren't even listed in here.
No, it's at the storage
this is just
locker
what
in
he remembers.
Kansas.
Can I make a
Guaranteed,
comment
man.
that I've never told anyone?
Go ahead.
Okay. In hindsight, at the time, I thought nothing of it. But in hindsight, Jimmy knew, and we had conversations about my parents that I do not have not talked to in many, many years. And he would make some dark jokes about murdering them that I thought were just weird, dark, gross. And I kind of would say, Jimmy, stop it. And he never hurt them. He never did anything to him. But in hindsight, like I just wonder if he really was fantasizing about that, or if it was just a joke, talking about murdering them for me. It's not normal to say that, but I've had other people that have made comments that are normal people, oh, your parents are pieces of shit and this and that. And, in hindsight, there's so many conversations besides that, but I think that's the creepiest one. And that leads me to believe that God forbid, but I pray not. I think there could be bodies, maybe.
I definitely think so too.
Fantasized a lot about it.
He confirms it. He confirms it right here. Also, that he makes sure to emphasize this. Also, this is not a complete list of my crimes against Christians, children, animals, and homeless people, but it represents a best attempt at listing out the worst of the worst. Well, in his mind, but who the fuck is he to judge what's the worst? Because he, But this is not everything he has ever committed. So, yeah. So, to talk about homeless people, it talks about homeless people right there. The next reference to homeless people is this was when I started. A word for pleasuring myself in front of homeless people down in the valley. One example out of a dozen, there was a homeless man at a location I cannot remember, blah, blah, blah. So one example out of dozens. Okay, next reference to homeless people, to a homeless person. Fourth M word of a child. June 3rd to 13th, 2022. I reconnected with a woman, Heather, who I met 3 years ago when she was a hot as fuck, really stinky homeless meth addict in Aurora, Colorado. And then the next one is the one where he's harassing the homeless person just last month in Florida. But go on.
Yeah, so look up. Is there anything about rituals? How many rituals are being performed?
Well, yeah, like he would even there's no ritual the word per se, but I have noticed that this is a ritual of desecration, like all these acts involving even when it's not in a church, it's some type of ritual. But a lot of them, it's it's ritualistic. It's very thought out. It's very planned out, like about the things of him, like going into
Right.
Going into church with bags of feces and things of that nature, and all these things are very premeditated. They're not just like these are not. This is not like impulsive, but it's very thought out. It's very premeditated.
Jadis, can you do me a favor? Can you please? Would you mind kind of going over the roommate's cat?
Okay.
Because people don't think Jimmy's capable of murder, but I mean, when you hear this is like some shit that even Jeffrey Dahmer might not do. Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
2000. So this is one paragraph that that just goes over the killing of 3 cats. 2009 to 2012, 3 cat killings. Number 1, Halo, my roommate Rich Cummings' cat, which I believe that is the same person. Let me. That I believe that's the same person that he molested the dog of. Nevertheless, let me. Okay, roommate. Okay, so my roommate. Okay, 3 cat killings. Number 1, Halo, my roommate Rich Cummings' cat. I tortured it with a screwdriver and a hammer. I squirted cum all over it several times. I pissed into its eyes. I locked it in an ice chest overnight. So he tortured this cat with a screwdriver and a hammer, and it was still alive in pain, in unimaginable pain, and he's fucking masturbating over it.
Yeah, that was making him
So
come.
sick.
I squirted over it. So he didn't just he got off on torturing people. He tortured Elisa's audience. Nevertheless, okay.
He peed in the eyes, which I believe is a ritualistic thing too.
Rich Cummings' cat, I tortured it with a screwdriver and hammer. I squirted cum all over it several times. I pissed into its eyes. I locked it in an ice chest overnight. In the morning, it was dead. I took it to a remote area and disposed of the smelly carcass. I don't know if you want me
And I want to,
read the other one.
I want to note that this is his friend and roommate's animal. So I believe the animal was targeted as being something that somebody close to him loved, and he probably tortured it to get maximum power from its pain. So a guy like that scares me, being around Elisa, but also every other person she put that guy around.
He told me about those animals. He told me he hated them.
Wow.
Wow.
So you would see, there were moments where you would see him become unhinged. One of them is with Jake. Like, and now to look back on it, wow, like that it's
What
very.
happened with Jake? Is Jake the guy that ran up on him and kind of attacked him?
Yeah, Jake's the guy who ran up on him. He ran up on him because
we should watch that clip right now, Grady, so we can dissect
it. Wow. Okay. Wow. Like, I don't know if you have, but it's hard. It may be hard to find.
I can find it.
Anyway, nevertheless,
What do I look up?
Why the reason Jake ran up on?
I'll look it up right now, Grady.
The reason Jake ran up on Jimmy was because Jimmy was complaining that Jake was a drunk and that he wasn't taking care of the dog. Wow.
Well, it looks like the Kermit and Friends channel still has all their Jimmy videos up. Y'all might want to delete those. Bad luck.
Yeah, that is bad luck.
But to think about that Jimmy is yelling at somebody who is actually Elisa's friend and doesn't even care to be on stream. You know, he's got his own life. He's got his own things going on. He just, he's a true friend of Elisa's, and Jake. And he's yelling at Jake on the phone about what a horrible person that Jake is for drinking. And he's doing what he's doing, and he was yelling at Jake, besides for drinking, for not taking care of the dog and whatever about the dog. Like maybe he would have rather he wanted the dog or whatever, but
I got it. I found it.
The hubris to scold somebody
about dropping in private chat
when knowing that he fucking killed them, raped them.
Let's see. Fuck.
Yeah, the irony of it all, looking back in hindsight.
How about Discord, Grady?
Okay, I don't have Discord open.
Okay.
What is it titled?
Can you make me a mod in your stream and I can post it in the chat?
Just
Yeah, I'm
post
sorry
it in the
to bother.
stream. Post it in the StreamYard.
Posting it. Well, I'm on my I'm on my phone on StreamYard, and I'm on my
Well,
computer.
what is it titled?
Oh yeah, if you just go to Papa Green, it's called Elisa Jordana's friend Jake wants to beat assistant Jimmy up.
It would be in Elisa's best interest to take the videos down and just make a public statement saying that she denounces what Jimmy does. There's no harm in that. It's only going to help her. When the thing happened with Botter last October, she refused to, denounce that behavior too. And that would really help her if she would do those things, if she denounced
I
the
agree
bad
with you,
behavior.
Lauren.
Yeah.
I think if she
and it wouldn't make her
yeah.
it wouldn't make her look weak. It would,
Yeah.
I don't know, she won't make as much money if she takes them down.
Yeah, good point.
She doesn't make any money off of those videos being up because her channel's not monetized.
Why is she
So
not
there's
monetized?
no
I'm
reason.
talking in general about
No,
when
but-
she gets donos and more people to keep watching her.
Keeping Jimmy videos up. There's no reason to keep those up because they don't make any money.
I understand that, but it would be the right thing. That's like if somebody had Jeffrey Dahmer.
She should take.
You take it down.
There's no reason to keep them up anyway because
Right.
She doesn't make money off of
And out
people
of
watching
respect,
it later. She makes money off of people watching live and making donos.
well, also out of respect to his victim, to the monster's
absolutely.
victims. She needs to have respect for the victims and take it down.
Yeah.
Right, Lauren? You agree?
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything you've said tonight, Deena. Definitely. I don't know why she does why she doesn't. It makes her look really bad.
Attention whore.
It has
That's
to be.
why.
It's like she's like a 7-year-old kid. It's like, but you're
She
41.
does.
You should know better.
She has the mentality of a child.
And I talked about that the other day. It's like, or I might have been voice shot. I'm not sure who I was talking to, but was that what part of the attraction of Jimmy to Elisa is, he looks at her like a child.
For sure.
Because she's
like,
her free spirit, and that's not a knock on her. Like I see, like that's a beautiful thing about her, that she's so free spirited and stuff. But he looked at it, it's like, oh, like she's like a child, and he,
You're right. I would never act like a child with him. And Elisa was somebody that was very needy. She's a very needy person. Who needs money, needs this, acts like an idiot child. Like she doesn't, like Elisa doesn't, she lacks knowing what's appropriate in public and what's not. And Jimmy's like that also. So I think they kind of bonded over not knowing how to really act like adults. Whereas I wouldn't act like an idiot. And when he was with me going out, he didn't act like that.
No, sorry, I thought you were casting. My bad.
Let's talk about.
Whoops.
I'm sorry. What is it? Go ahead.
I was just saying. Do you have that picture that I sent you of the vampire?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'll have to get that up here. Hold on.
So looking through Jimmy's Twitter, I found this picture that Grady's going to pull when he can. Oh, and did you find the you got that Jake video, that Jake and Jimmy video?
My shit's frozen up right now for some reason, so it's gonna take a second. If you want to move on to something else, I can pull it up later.
Yeah.
What is the what's the absolute sickest thing in the manifesto, Cadis, in your opinion?
Stuff about children.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about that. But I mean,
that
was
would
there
be the
anything?
answer. That's the answer, though.
Like reading it.
I want to ask Lala something. Lala, why is it enticing to go back to Elisa? Is she messaging you in those periods where you're not on stream with her, if you all are fighting? Is she messaging you saying, like, will you please come back? Or was it you that reached out?
Yeah, I mean, she's begged me to come back. Like, there's a stream where I'm screaming at her, and she's like, "I need to pay my Jeep. Please come back. Please come back." So yeah, she had asked me to come back, and I was like
Yeah.
lonely and bored. Like, I just go to work all week, and then I go to church.
That's why
You
I
know,
think a lot of these
yeah.
people go back is because they're lonely, and she knows that, you know, she's popular, she's a cool type person. She reaches out like she can get these people back. I don't know.
Well, it's like it's really pathetic for me to go back because she's bullied me so hard ever since I met her. You know, like I really like.
It
It's
seems like
really
that's her
poor.
forte. She bullies people and somehow gets them
She's
back,
Yeah,
and that's
vulnerable
her.
people. My
yeah,
loneliness is my
She looks at
vulnerability, but she
there are
exploits my fatness and my acne.
she is a bully. She
like
tried
recent.
to
Yeah.
get me to come to Florida to stream with her after I had a fight with Jimmy. She was going to get Jimmy to pay for me to come to Florida to stream even after my fight with him. And I said no.
She
Good for
offered to
you.
do that with
Good.
like a bunch of other people I know too, Deena.
Yeah.
It's a bad look that I went to Fort Myers with her, and my boyfriend, him and all his friends can't stand her. They know all about her, and he's like, "Don't go near her. Don't go near her." He's been telling me that ever since I met him, and I should be listening to him. You know, like I really
Hmm.
regret going to Fort Myers because the whole time I've been in Florida, the before I Fort Myers thing, I hadn't seen her in like 6 months.
Yeah, but I bet you feel really vindicated, Lauren, because you have been right about her for like a year now.
Yeah, I do, but like, man, I've hung around the wrong people just being in this IRL thing, but I'm coming out
Mhm.
the right
What got
side of
you
it.
what got you looped in like more currently was probably because she was jealous that she heard that you and Diana were starting to connect.
Oh yeah, she thought that we were gonna do So yeah, Diana and I we're gonna do a podcast together the week before we went to Fort Myers, but we both chickened out. And then, after Fort Myers, Diana and I connected and we hung out for like a week, and because she was flipping out so much, I distanced myself from Diana, but I think that was definitely some of it. So, yeah.
Yeah, Elisa saw like I mean she would say, "Oh, I hate her. I don't want to stream with her or whatever," and you the same. But I think part of the callous was like, "Oh no, she's gonna like hang out like she might hang out with Diana. Like let me like you know curtail that. And she was kind of jealous of that. You know
Yeah,
that."
and that just goes back to like her childlike mentality, like this little elementary school games, like adults don't think and behave that way where they try to like control and manipulate people and do these weird games. And I'm just such a fucking idiot for falling into these traps, and
That's
it's
okay, Lauren. You were lonely.
yeah.
No,
We just
you're
did the
not.
show lonely. You're not
A lot of
stupid.
people that are in our community are lonely, right?
Yeah, I know I
Yeah.
am.
Okay, so Jadis, let's talk about the storage locker. Like, what is it? How is it described in the manifesto?
Okay.
And where is it, too?
Yeah. So as backstory, when it first came out, we were all going over it in an alternative Discord, and someone mentioned to me that hey, like the address, he gives a storage locker number, does because at this point we're it's probably like the phase of death or whatever. It's like it's the shock, and it was like we didn't believe this was. We was like, is this a fucking troll? Like, is it like we're going through it, like picking things out. It's like what was something that we could confirm is actually real. Like no one wanted to. He gives phone numbers in here. No one wanted to bother these people. You know what I mean? To like
Yeah.
to say who they are, but that is good for record because they could find out who maybe had that number at that time period or whatever. But nobody wanted to bother anybody. But somebody said, the storage lockers. I I I looked at it and it doesn't look that big. I don't even know that it goes up to 1,200. That they would have 1,200. The number 1,200. Units, and they said, and I was like, I'll call and ask. And I called and I said, does your lockers go up to 1,200? And I said, and they were kind of confused. And I said, oh well, my friend wanted me to go check on his locker. can you just confirm to me that that's the locker that belongs to him? And he's like, sure, give me the number and give me the name. I said, 1252. and I said, the name is Jim Ward-Nichols. And he said, yeah. The unit is rented out to Jim Ward. And I said, so 1252 exists? He said, yeah.
Oh
But-
yeah,
but we don't.
he had that storage locker. He always talks about it.
So has he ever lived in Topeka, Kansas? Or
Yes.
Okay. We were speculating like why. Maybe that's why he
stayed
moved
there. I don't know how long.
Maybe that's why he moved there, because 666 is the. But anyway,
Could
so
be.
Yeah, zip code.
so thumb drives and hard drives containing tens of thousands of CP images can be found in my storage locker in Topeka, Kansas. Mini DV tapes, which were those, in the 90s, those the smaller tapes that came out, the smaller digital tapes. Mini DV tapes that you would have the camcorder for. Mini DV tapes containing many acts of blasphemy. So he would record himself back in the day with camcorders and shit. Before the phone. Who knows what the fuck is on his phone, But mini in the storage locker as well. Mini DV tapes containing many acts of blasphemous scat play, actual shots of me, a word for pleasuring myself, inside a cathedral in Baltimore, and hours of me, a word for pleasuring myself, next to a Lawrence, Kansas playground, can also be found in the storage locker. This U-Haul storage locker. I will have the key card and the keys to the locker with me when I surrender for everything I've detailed below, which include the loot act in Walmart. So yeah, the FBI is going to be involved. They probably today went to that storage locker, and they probably got the warrant, Sunday. They either went there today or they're going there tomorrow, and they're gonna get that shit. The FBI, because at this point they're involved.
Yep.
Deena, what did he tell you about the locker?
Not that he had, CP in there, that's for sure. He just talked about, like he moved a lot around the country, and I'd say, what do you do with your stuff? Like I couldn't live that way. And he just would say, oh, I have a storage locker. Everything's in storage. And, we just talked about having the storage locker. He never admitted what was in it. I just assumed, personal belongings that when you live, that when you're going to move all around the country all the time, like, you have some basic things you keep in there that you don't want to schlep with you all over the country. So, that's what I assumed.
Now, do you think? Now, like, what do you think about this moving around the country thing in hindsight, knowing what you know now? Deena, I'm sorry. Hello?
Deena.
Hello, is there volume?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Deena, you hear me?
Uh-oh.
Do you hear me, Deena?
Anyway, we're about 125 into the show. I'm looking to go about 2 hours. Where do you want this conversation to go?
I'm sorry.
What are we not?
I want to
going
ask
into?
Deena something about Jimmy. One more thing. So he just had so much money because he was a workaholic, and never it was always single, or did he have family money too, or? Oh, she's not there. I'm stupid. I'm so done.
Yeah, I think Deena. I'm gonna go ahead and remove Deena. She's
Okay.
gone. So it's just us talking. Lauren, how does it make you feel as a Christian what you're hearing today?
Listen, you gotta, whether you're a Christian or not, when you can feel, bad negative energy, and it's like I was saying this to my live stream on Saturday, when your gut tells you something is really bad or horrible, you got to listen to it. And I knew that there was something really like horrible hanging around Elisa or her community back when I first met her. And it makes me sick, and it's scary because I don't want to be associated to any of this, and it's why I regret going to Fort Myers. Like, should have just nipped it in the bud in Los Angeles. But like, the whole time that Elisa's been like bullying me, and like how I like to put it is persecuting me, is like I've just been praying for her to like have relief from all this evil that surrounds her. And it makes me sick. It makes me really, really sick. It's horrible. The victims think, when I hear, because I haven't read any of that document, just because I don't want any of that in my mind. But when I hear the stories about the victims, it makes me sick to my stomach, and I think, wow, what you can't let this evil in. You can't like be around it. You can't engage in it. You got to protect yourself. And other people choose other things, but I choose a Christian walk, obedience to God and prayer to avoid it. So it makes me sick. It makes me sick.
Yeah, I think it's a very disturbing all around. Like I said, I think Elisa is kind of a victim as well. I don't think if anyone has some fucked up shit happen to them, it was her. You know what I mean? I think she's probably thinking in her head all the times Jimmy was around. What might have happened with castmates, and stuff like that. There were a lot of people just not ever coming back during that Jimmy period. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
I'm not saying they did anything to him, but I think he was creeping them out.
definitely Corbin, I would say. And I'll just mention this. Like, I think this is a good time for Elisa to get psychological help and someone kind of, help her gain the skills to like kind of act like an adult and have discernment and,
And heal.
learn how to bring positive change into her life, like a life
It's
coach.
that Discord,
She needs to
Lala. It
heal.
all revolves around the Discord. She has like levels of hierarchy of simps in there that will do her bidding. And as long as they're being her yes men and telling her that her bullying is a good thing, I think she's going to keep doing it.
That is such a good point, Connor. That's true, because like I don't know if she has a personality disorder or not, but she definitely likes being worshipped, and she definitely gets pissed if somebody somebody says that somebody else is better than her. So
No, her
you're
Discord,
right. Like, she's
her
addicted
Discord
to
has
Discord.
And I want to say she's been threatening to report me. She's been threatening to mass report me because I made videos of her. Not even that the videos are bad. They got thousands of views, and I tagged her in all of them. I probably got her like 50 subscribers with my videos. And she's threatening to copyright strike me, which she can't even do because it's transformative content. So I just want to say, bring it on, Elisa. I'm going to keep those videos up, and you can suck my dick.
Yeah, that's horrible that she's doing that. She just needs to be accountable and make the right changes. And like, you're right about the Discord thing. I didn't even think about that, because so many people worship her and enable her. How is she gonna make the change? That's what she leans on.
That's
her
what
fuel.
she does. You know what she does when she goes home? She sits there and she just looks at the Discord, and she gets gaslit by her Discord. That's why a lot of people hate me, is because of the jealousy of, oh, this person is there, like, and she would, and she has even verbalized it to say, that, like, that, that it was a mistake, that she was dumb for getting rid of me, and that the chat made her afraid of me.
Yeah, that's so weird that she blames the chat. She like really uses that as a tool for everything, to blame, for like, praise. It's like, girl, your Discord needs to be deleted.
No, but like for me, like, she said, like, that her chat, that she realized that the chat was gaslighting her about me, because it's like, you think those mods like seeing, like, oh, like, this person who was in the chat, like, is, wow, he showed up, and it's like, and yeah, like, I made mistakes, at times and stuff, but it's like, I'm not a monster. Like, Elisa's literally called me like a monster and called me a criminal, and that's that's in retrospect, that's, and knowing what's transpired now, it's even more insulting.
Yeah, last summer they did that to me too, Jadis, because like I know how you've gotten mad at her a couple of times on stream because of what she does. Like I used to get really mad like that at her last summer too because it was scary and I didn't know how to stop her, and she had like all these people talking about me saying whatever they want and I didn't know how to make it stop, so I would just get really mad at her and it would make it worse. And it's like, the simps like Leaf, it's like, man, dude, you gotta have some ground and put your foot down when she's doing something really bad and be a human being. Like pray good
Mhm.
to Wheezy for doing that and putting his foot in the ground and saying, hey, don't do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I used to get mad just like you, Jadis, and I think it like took away some of her power that, I found peace and she can't trigger me anymore.
Yeah,
Mm.
I tried to tell
I've
Diana the same thing. I'm like, Diana, you can't get mad. It feeds her.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've gotten to that point, like,
Yeah.
over,
Good.
but at the same time, like I care about the show. I care about like the reason, like I don't want everybody to think that I'm doing this to badmouth Elisa. I'm doing and to bring down the community. Like
I love the community.
I'm shining light on this to be able to start the healing process. Now that we know, what we know, and the law will take care of, the I could trust that the law that he's not going to get off on this.
Can
He's
you
not
help?
going to be.
Can you mute your phone, Deena? We can hear like a delay. But go ahead, Jadis.
But yeah, like so it's like I'm just trying to shine light upon this to heal the to help the healing process. And now he's in the law's hands, and we don't have to ask questions, and we could eventually not talk about him, and move on. And this is like and I'm afraid that people are going to be defending him. I'm seeing it. I don't know if any of you are seeing it, but I see that people are tacitly defending by it's like,
Yeah, like Elisa
I
made
see
that
people saying
comment.
it's fake, but I don't know if they're joking.
Oh, I hate when people say that. That's horrible. Like, or when they say it's a script. It's never a script. All of this is the real mental and spiritual breakdown of everything. It's like Elisa said in her Discord, somebody kept putting a screenshot in the Discords I'm in, which are not hers, saying that Elisa was saying that what Jimmy did is not as bad as what Spartan does. And it's like, dude, this is not helping you. Like, don't say something like that for real.
Yeah, I want to say to Jadis, like Jadis, I think you're a great guy, and I think you kind of have the same problem Lauren has, maybe that you just like are maybe a little lonely, and you found this show, and it's hard to get away from it. But I think it would be healthy for you to stay away from that show and maybe start your own show or something, because I don't think that's a healthy place for you to be. I don't think she'll ever treat you with respect.
I do
I think
I do live stream alone, like, and you could find me at Jadis Mercado on YouTube, and subscribe, please. I'd appreciate it. And
In the description.
so you can see me when I do live stream. And Elisa would like Elisa didn't teach me how to live stream. I knew how to do it. I've been doing it for years, and I set up all my own stuff. She didn't like set the shit up for me yet, but I do understand. I do understand, her, the issue that she gets into with is she wants somebody to stream with, because you don't want to just be there talking alone and stuff. But
yeah.
I did a live stream after her show, after her birthday show, and a lot of people liked it. And I was able to go out there and talk to people and interact with people. I see it's hard for her. She has a different, she has a way different idea of what this IRL is.
I
is
think
gonna
you have
be.
a real soft spot for Elisa, Jadis. Is what it seems like.
Like I don't want to destroy her. Like I feel bad. I
Thank you.
I feel bad, especially right now.
Yeah.
Like,
All right, guys, let's start wrapping this up. I think this would be a good time to start wrapping it up. We're at 66, a Jimmy number in the chat. That's very creepy. Lauren, I want you to speak to Elisa directly. one final thought to Elisa.
Yeah, Elisa, you need to first seek some sort of psychological help. You need a coach or somebody to help teach you how you can bring positive change into your life. You know, my recommendation is Christianity, but if you want to go a different route, you know, go through Judaism, not Kabbalah, go through traditional Judaism or a life coach, psychologist. Please get help and find a good, solid, grounded person to help you kind of rebuild, you know, how to be a positive influence in the world. And then when or if you do come back to YouTube, I would say get rid of the speaker, okay, and don't exploit people, and find people who make positive change and interview them, and you know, do the singing and dancing and have it really be positive. I think you need someone to teach you how to do that. So that's what I would say to Elisa.
Conor, what do you have to say to Elisa?
I just want to say, like, you know, you can try to write my videos, but it's not going to work because it's transformative content. I only take a slice of the video and then I put subtitles in it. So, I mean, you can try to do it, but yeah, I'm going to take you down.
Jadis, speak directly to Elisa.
Elisa, unblock my phone.
All right, I want to thank Lauren the Christian, Conor, and Jadis for joining me today. And as for me, I'm going to leave with a little Elisa-style joke. Elisa, I will always love you. Until next time.
Thank you, Grady.
Security for Mr. George provided by Bond International Security of Anaheim.